Hey, welcome to Guitar Knobs, the guitars, gear, noise, and nonsense podcast, hosted today by these knobs.
Tony Dudzik, Pick Guardian.
Hey everybody, it's me, Todd. Novak. Welcome to the Guitar Knobs podcast. We are back in action with Tony Labadie.
I'm back.
Well, I'm back.
Well,
You've
you're
been
back.
here.
Well, that's true.
Yes, but you are also back-ish.
I'm back in the studio.
Yes, that is true. We missed you terribly, Tony, and I got nothing but compliments about the show.
You must have cut out a bunch of the nonsense that you and Rob were talking about me behind my back. I felt it. I could feel.
Rob has high praise of you.
Really?
He does. Yeah, we talked about all kinds of deep stuff, as you do when you have a traveling partner. You know? Yes. So, anyways.
Well, that's nice.
Yes,
to know.
and actually, I'll talk to you about some of those things when we're going home tonight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it. We've got a fantastic guest. Shocker.
Who is it?
Guess who are you?
I am Jonathon Labadie.
Jonathon Labadie. And that is the correct pronunciation. I checked with the recipient of that name, and he said that was, in fact, the case. And then sitting in front of us
Jonathan, what do you do?
Okay.
I am the co-founder of M2 Labs, and at the moment we are manufacturing like boutique effects pedals.
Nice.
Yes. And one of those said pedals is sitting before us in my cold live hands. This is the Bomber Overdrive. Beautiful, nice. Beautiful drive here. Really a lovely package.
Thank you.
And we are going to dip all into this. Where can people find the things that you're doing?
So it's one of two places primarily. Instagram is where I'm the most active. I see a lot of folks in the pedal community that focus a lot on that as well. But given that the design of this plays a big factor of it all visually, I like the way Instagram works when it comes to how it presents the information. I don't have to write this 5,000 word thesis. It's just take a really cool photo of a really cool product and post it.
There you go.
At the end of the day. But the website as well.
Good. And are these all like made to order, or do you have them on hand, or like how do you guys operate?
So these basically the run that you got one of were made in a batch of like 25. We're currently doing another batch of 100. And with that, we're hoping to try and encourage some support via a pre-sale.
That's a good idea.
With that, so.
Oh, and it says I just went to your site. Welcome our newest lab artists, and then it changed, and I couldn't catch his name, but you probably know it. So.
Oh, you're talking about Hector. Yeah. Hector.
Yeah. I was just about to say it and then didn't. Anyhow. So yeah, definitely go. And I would encourage you guys to sign up for the email on the website. That's always a great way to connect with your builders. And then you can get updated on drops and all kinds of stuff, I imagine, or maybe not. Just try it and see what happens. How about that?
Yeah, I try real hard not to spam people. I'm somebody that is very fickle about who I right click.
I get
report spam to. So
got it. Okay, well, on with the show. We are going to dip into our normal bits of things here.
I have an announcement.
Starting with announcements. Go ahead.
Can I give my announcement?
Yeah.
So a couple episodes ago, we were talking about the Jeff Beck auction, guitar auction. And as I think I had talked about, I said, these estimates cannot be at all accurate. And as it turns out, the end result of the auction, Lot 1, for example, sold for 10 times the estimated value. And a couple of highlights out of the auction results, I guess we would say. And the highest priced one was Jeff's 54 Gibson Les Paul, also called an Oxblood, It was one that was, I believe, had converted to humbuckers from the original P90s. That sold for,
Oh, boy.
and I'll do it in American dollars,
Oh boy.
about $1.3 million.
Wow.
One guitar. That's the highest price on any Les Paul
ever.
that has been sold.
Wow.
Now, the one that really intrigued me because they had such a low, it was, I think the estimate was like 40 to 60,000. Was his? It was called the Yardburst. It was a '59 Les Paul that was renecked with a '72 Gibson neck.
Right.
So that one ended up selling for $500,000.
Jeez.
So it's just, I don't know who is giving
I'm
these.
surprised it was only $500,000 considering what a
Well,
burst without a ton of provenance goes for,
Yeah, and that's what I thought. With 40 to 60,000, no way. I mean, I figured
Yeah.
that maybe it would go, for triple that or something. It
Yeah.
ends up selling for,
Yeah.
10 times that amount.
Well, Beck was obviously very famous, but also a bit of an acquired taste, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, he would have been the more jazzy version of
Yeah.
a blues player.
Yeah, it'd be like, oh wow, this guitar was owned by Todd Rundgren. There's a group of people that'll really like that.
Yeah.
But there's a bigger group of people that won't.
Well, no, I don't know if that's fair.
Be less interested or at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jeff Beck can be an acquired taste.
I'm just saying, as opposed to some of like the really well-known players out there.
You're saying Jeff Beck was not a well-known player?
Well, it depends on what generation you're from, too.
I guess that's true. And if, from my generation,
Yes, the ones with all the money.
yeah, those he would have been right up there with Clapton,
Sure.
and Pagey, and he was
Yeah,
he was a pretty remarkable guitar player.
yeah. Well,
Now-
I'm not taking that away. But we have a wide-ranging audience, and I'm sure there's quite a few who are like, "Who the hell's Jeff Beck?"
Go back and listen.
Right.
But I think the reason that in addition to it being a renecked guitar, is it was one that he used when he was in the Yardbirds.
Yeah.
And I think the Oxblood one was one that he used over later parts of his career, and then some of the Strats and things that went. That was. I think he was probably better known for playing Strats.
Yeah.
But I just found it interesting, and that was over $10.7 million is what all of the things
All
that
in.
which and everything sold, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody paid a ridiculous like $10,000 for an empty flight case that said Jeff Beck on it.
That's cool.
I wouldn't think I would pay $10,000
I wouldn't.
for a flight case.
No, but you gotta imagine if Jonathan, if you were not necessarily a collector, but you had you're a fan of a certain player, and you could get the flight case, and that's what your TV was put on, and everybody would be like, "What, Van Halen flight case? What?" Or whomever your the thing that you like is, and that that's
I guess.
I get it.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know that I'd spend that amount of money on a flight case. I might be persuaded to spend that amount of money, like 10 grand on a guitar for like my hero.
Yeah.
If my hero wasn't from, I love Jeff Beck, but I can't afford his memorabilia whatsoever.
Sure.
But somebody like Alexi Laho, his guitar was going for like 10 grand. I'd consider that. I might go broke.
Is that your hero guy?
That's the guy that switched me from being a classical guitar player to a metal guitar player.
Oh, okay. Who are some of your other faves?
Oh man, let's see. That is, of course, my mind goes blank right now. There's the guy with Trent Reznor in Nine Inch Nails. I can never remember his name, but he's been like the staple guitar player since the beginning. He's a very interesting guitar player. I like how he kind of accomplishes everything there.
Robin
Who's that
Fink.
guy? Yeah, Robin Fink. There we go. And then there's that other guy. who was in, I think he's still in Arch Enemy. He's the blonde guy. Oh, God, of course I can't remember anybody's name. I'm having a you moment.
Wow, arch enemy dragging out the Swedish stuff.
Yeah, so that's the thing is I appreciate European metal slightly more than I appreciate American metal. And that's because I think my classical background, where, American metal is based in blues, and that's kind of where it got its start. It was either Black Sabbath or Blue Cheer that was the first metal band. It's widely controversial. Mm-hmm. And with European metal, you hear a lot of like Bach and Mozart and Wagner and all these guys mixed into that stuff.
Yeah. Much more theatric.
Yes.
And if it's Spinal Tap,
and that's Jeff Loomis, by the way.
Yes.
They use Mach, which is a combination of Mozart and Bach in Spinal Tap.
That is true. Yes.
It's Mach.
All right. Anyways.
D minor being the saddest of all keys.
Yeah. They're redoing that movie.
Yeah, I know. I'm afraid to
I'm not.
watch
I'm
it.
going to see the heck out of that. Are you kidding me? Anyway.
I'm going
to. Do you have any announcements?
Yes, I do. So I've been teasing out the hoodies. We are taking orders for those, you guys. So, and all you need to do is shoot me an email. Or if you need to, and you're like, I don't want to do an email, you can drop me a DM on Instagram. If you do an email, just make sure you put hoodie in the subject matter, please. That will help get it through all the gates and, trying to keep out all the baddies and stuff. So here's the deal. We need requests for these by the last day is going to be Valentine's Day, February 14th, so that I can calculate how much these things are going to be for everybody.
Oh.
Okay? Because we're just, I've got to figure out, and then I got to say, great, all right, we've got 45 of these. They're going to come out to this much money. If there's only 20, well, guess what? They're going to be a little bit more. We're just passing on. We're taking it. We're packing it up and getting it out. Okay?
Everything's at or below cost.
Yes. Though, obviously we want to try to keep it as affordable as possible.
Yeah.
So the more that enter, the more that you want them, the cheaper they'll be.
You want me to email you saying that I want one, or can I tell you that I want one now and that count?
Look at that. That counts.
Sold.
I want one, he says. Okay. All right. Tell you what, we're going to, so anyways, there'll be a social post on that. We're probably going to do that tonight, so it'll be out there as a reminder. But yeah, if you're interested, just get a hold of us. That's the announcement.
That's a great announcement.
Indeed. So let's talk about what's going on in our music worlds this week, gentlemen. We're going to start off with Tanya Bolonsky, and then we are going to check in with Jonathan. Go ahead, Tony.
So this week, I've been perusing magazines as normal, and in the latest issue of the Fretboard Journal, this is kind of a real niche kind of magazine, but it's a great magazine if you're at all interested in building guitars and that sort of thing. There is a gentleman by the name of Nate Wood from Stallman Guitars. He's a luthier, builder, repair guy. And he's been putting his, what he calls his Just My Opinions on like Instagram and all the other social areas. And so Fretboard Journal kind of made a compilation of some of the things that he's been posting. And they did a kind of a real quick interview with him. But it's kind of, some of them are kind of funny, and some of them, if you've ever worked in a repair shop or or do repairs currently, you can kind of greatly appreciate it. Now, you might be able to find this online through the Fretboard Journal website. But anyhow, there are a couple of his opinions, shall we say, that I found pretty interesting. And I'll just read a couple of them. The first one is, that ding repair probably isn't worth it.
Right.
Because it's going to cost more probably
Right.
than the guitar is worth, if that's it. And this one, I know from firsthand experience, your brand new guitar probably needs fret work.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, unless it's coming from, a small shop that's building these custom in your
Right.
town, because once a guitar leaves the climate that it was built in and comes to wherever you happen to be, inevitably it's going to need some adjustments. And usually it's in the fret ends.
Well, and unless you're getting it from like, if it's like maybe a higher end, you're getting a PRS or something like that, or any of the boutique builders that are known for very high quality, right?
Yep.
Almost all the time, everything just isn't. You got sharp frets. You got
Yeah.
maybe a crap nut, or
Well, it's the nature of the beast. When something starts off as raw wood and then you put it together as a guitar, eventually it's going to, stretch a little. And
Well, yeah, but I think also within there is like, okay, so I've had a couple of friends contact me recently, and they wanted to start playing guitar. So I connected them with a couple guitars that were, in those cases, both brand new. Mm-hmm. And the first thing I said was, before you even start playing it, let's get it set up, and there's like, oh, I don't understand. It's brand new. What could be wrong with it? And I was like, it's not that anything's wrong with it. It's that one of the reasons it's affordable is because they didn't spend 6 more hours like sanding, polishing all the
Right.
frets down to where there aren't sharp ends or there aren't high spots or that kind of thing.
yeah.
Just playability wise, those things are more common associated with more affordable, let's say, guitars.
Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment.
Thank you, Tony.
And one here, this made me laugh a little. Sometimes a guitar with 8s or 9s doesn't need fretwork to eliminate string buzz. It just needs 10s. And that is very true. And these two kind of go together. Every decent luthier was once, quote, the last person who worked on this. Not true. And then the final one is, the amount of give a damn in a luthier matters more than the years of experience. So
That's possibly true.
I believe it to be very true.
All right.
I mean, yeah, experience counts for some things, but, sometimes I've been to some experienced repair shops and they kind of,
Phone it in.
well, I mean, they say, they just, if it's not like something,
It's good enough.
it's good enough for that
That'll do.
guitar. Yeah.
I got others.
Yeah. You got how many more you got?
Not too many.
So anyhow,
Okay.
check it out. Like I said, you probably can find it on the Fretboard Journal website, but it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And if not, look up Nate Wood from Stahman Guitars, Stahman.
Okay. Good one. Jonathan, how about you? What's going on in your music world that doesn't include building your pedals?
Oh yeah, well, there's lots of stuff actually. I'm a big fan of pushing myself outside of my comfort zone. So what I'm doing is exploring what I like and don't like about
Bagpipes.
particular Yeah, I love bagpipes, but modulation effects. So like,
Ooh, okay.
I'm the worst person to try and sell just a generic chorus pedal or a phaser or something. In fact, every time I hear flanger and phaser, I just think of that. I can't even remember the name of the Van Halen song, but it's just the riff starts playing in my head immediately. And there's nothing wrong with Van Halen. It's just
Yeah, that's a lot of them actually.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Well, I mean, like Atomic Punk starts out with the That's pretty accurate, right?
That was pretty good. I think we'll put you out on tour. Well, that
if
part,
you
not
don't
so much.
have a scat career, then you need to. But it's just figuring out what I like and don't like. I know that's one of Nick and I's not weak points, but we've got our what we love and then what we haven't figured out what we love yet.
Yeah.
So I've been playing around with a lot of stuff there. And then a buddy of mine has got me really interested in solar guitars.
Solar?
Yeah, Ola England's guitar brand.
Okay.
I've been skeptical the whole time because I don't normally like. I get a little skeptical when somebody's made a name and then all of a sudden they release like some restaurant or something, and that's how I kind of looked at what was going on. But he's showing me these guitars, and you can actually see one of them being used on a video that this same friend put together for me on the Instagram.
Okay.
Using the Bomber, but I might.
These are performance guitars.
Yeah, I might have to buy one. I don't know. I haven't figured out. I'm kind of a snob when it comes to guitar bodies and headstocks.
Yeah.
So I haven't found one just yet. And then I don't know if you guys know about these guys. This one dude, I think he's based out of Canada, but my buddy Juan of Moon Destroys has turned me on to this dude named Godfrey Guitars.
Oh yeah. I'm pulling it up right now. Yeah, he makes some pretty wild stuff, man.
It makes me uncomfortable, but I'm really happy that I'm uncomfortable.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
He doesn't give a crap about any kind of quote unquote rules on what something should be or look like. I mean, he's creating some stuff that's like out there.
I'm sad Prince isn't alive to witness Godfrey Guitars. Yeah, it's
based on that, are you familiar with Sully Guitars?
No.
Oh, you should check his stuff out. Based on everything you're talking about right now, Sully is right up there. He's a gem of a dude, and he's out of Texas. I'm not saying that these ones aren't, but you should definitely check that out.
Sully Guitars?
Yep.
Checking them out. Right?
Yeah, he's been on the show. Actually, we're going to have him back on in probably a couple month or two or so.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyways, so also Moon Guitars.
Moon
Yeah,
guitar.
absolutely.
Yeah, I just listened to that episode today.
Yeah, he makes some really nice stuff, that's for sure. And if you like, for lack of better terms, more extreme kind of looking things, he's got his own twist on things,
Yeah.
Anyhow, what you were mentioning about playing around with modulation, it's something that I actually have kind of struggled with too. I've been able to work it into some of my band's music. I wish I kind of wish I did more with it, because on one hand I feel like it would open up things, but it's hard because sometimes and maybe this is the same struggle you're having. It's like, well, if I only can really turn it on to like 1 where it's barely there and I know it's there, then is it really doing anything? And if it's any higher, then you're just like, whoa, holy mackerel, now I'm using a phaser. So I've struggled with how much that either gives or takes away from the thing you're doing, especially if you're the only guitar player.
Yes.
That's where I find it to be very difficult.
Yeah. You're kind of out in front,
yeah,
in front of everybody in your underpants.
Yeah, and sometimes that can really take away from like the whole thing that you're doing, So.
Well, yeah, in your style of music, you fill the voids with more guitar.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what some like a phaser or something like that traditionally would do. It helped build in.
I mean, in a recording
space.
Situation, that would make a little bit more sense. In a live situation, because then I can actually have like a backing rhythm. I can lay down a rhythm track and then do some. But I understand that, and with so much around it, sometimes I personally feel like, am I just not giving this the chance it deserves? Do I not know how to best use this said thing? But yeah.
here's a fun question that you don't have to answer right now.
Okay.
But what I would like to hear
Coconuts.
from your perspective, both of your perspectives, and it's pineapple, is what makes a chorus pedal good or bad to you? You don't have to answer that right now, but that's something I'd be really interested in getting your take on, because that's currently a battle I'm struggling with at the moment.
Let's give that some
That
thought.
is that's a very good question. And my head immediately went to Dave Navarro, who is one of my favorite chorus masters. There's a lot going on in all that music. To me, a chorus is when it's making the guitar do something awesome, but it isn't like, oh, here comes the chorus pedal crutch.
And that's, and that's one of the things, throughout the 80s. I mean, you take the Police, you take any number of bands. That was the sound between that and and a phaser. I mean, those were the two things which they're kind of closely related.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting.
Let's think about that a little bit.
All right. As for me,
Todd, what about you?
Well,
a
tiny little bit of a departure, because I still honestly haven't been feeling up to snuff with sitting down and going, okay, great, I'm going to go play guitar right now. It's just, I'm like, I don't want to try to rush it. I'm going to wait till I'm back in the saddle. But
how does a cough affect you playing a guitar?
It's just a matter of head, fuzzy head and focus, and honestly, my body's just not back up to strength.
Really?
Full strength. Yeah.
Should I have a sneeze guard between us here?
No. If you sneeze, that's fine. But what I did do, I cut my teeth in the full span of the 80s. Okay. On music. That's where my foundation was at. And one of my favorite records from then was Human League Dare.
Ah, yeah.
And actually they made that in 77, but it, blew up and
that's hard to believe.
It's crazy to think about that.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was watching a YouTube video, and I didn't set out to see it. I just happened to catch it on the side. And it had this guy just with a wall of the synth stuff with all the plugs coming out of it, and I was like, oh, that looks scary. And then he's holding up that Dare album, which is a very distinct cover. And of course, they were made famous by Don't You Want Me. Mm-hmm. And you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that doesn't know that song, if they hear it anyways. And one of the things that I've had actually a lot of conversations about this, because listening to records at home and stuff, and we were talking about how it's weird, because if you listen to it now, it's like all of the music is seemingly so simple. It's almost like primary in its approach, because they're not it's not complicated. There's not a million notes, and a lot of it's programmed. So compared to modern day EDM or anything of that ilk. And so I just started watching this, and he said, I'm going to recreate this song, this famous song, with the original gear that they used. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's going to be interesting. And I was glued to this little documentary thing that I saw, and it was remarkable because almost everything was done in almost a scientific or math approach. Mm-hmm. It was all programmed on basically like a spreadsheet. And then the very first drum machine that was ever made. So these guys made the sound of the 80s before the things that make the sounds of the 80s was even working.
Right.
The way that they got it to manipulate. It's remarkable when you think about that. And yet they did a whole album of it. And when you hear it, you can't not move to it. It moves you. It's that kind of music. But the way that it was created was not musical
It was
at all.
arithmetic.
It was like math.
Yeah.
It's just like, wait, what? How did some math programming become like one of the biggest songs of an entire decade that got people moving on the dance floor, you know?
Yeah.
That's remarkable.
Now, here's something just to consider.
Yes.
It's 2025, right?
Yes.
So if we're listening to stuff from the 80s,
Yes.
that's 45 years ago.
Yes.
Oh,
More.
Now, let's just say in the 1980s, when you say you cut your teeth and I was playing in bands, if that would be like us listening to stuff from the 1940s.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
I know.
I mean, it's just crazy.
It is. It's really weird. And so I was talking with my drummer, and I said, man, because he came over and I was just playing the stuff, and he just says, man, it's so good. It's so good. Because all the rest of the tracks on that album are fantastic.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm so impressed at the restraint that they had. They didn't just make everything huge and big. Think about who else was there. It's like ELO, Elton John, flipping the Eagles. They were doing crazy huge stuff. And I'd like the discipline to have restraint to say, no, we're just going to make it like this. Well, then I watch this and I'm like, no, it's just that they couldn't do it. They couldn't do anymore because there wasn't a way to do it.
Yeah.
Really.
They didn't have Jeff Lynne's
it totally
budget.
changed my. well, no, but I mean, it's even like Joy Division. Like they had to make their own synthesizers.
Yeah.
They made their own electronic drum machine.
Yeah.
Because out of need. It's remarkable stuff. I love it.
Pioneers.
Yes. I'm all hopped up on it.
Woo.
Okay. Hey, speaking of pioneers,
Yes.
you know what we need to connect this here bomber pedal to the board?
What if I want to connect a synthesizer to the...
You could if you wanted to. That would be outstanding.
How would I do that?
I would use Tour Gear Designs patch cables to do that. Yes.
What if you had a big wall
Pioneers and pancake thin cables.
What if you had a big wall, like a big patch bay?
Yes.
What would you use on that?
I would use a lot of Tour Gear Designs patch cables.
That would
That's
be
for
smart.
Sure.
Good
Yes.
thinking.
You head over to there, to tourgeardesigns.com, and load up your cart. And then when you get there, and look for the little coupon code, you're going to put in the guitar knobs, all lowercase, and you're going to save 15%.
15%.
15% on your order. It is an incredibly kind gesture from the folks at Tour Gear. So thank you guys for sponsoring our 4 on the Floor. Tony?
Let me get a little bit of this.
1, 2, 3. 4 on the floor.
All right, Jonathon Labadie from M2 Labs. What is your 4 on the floor?
so to start, this is a little bit of a. I've noticed this is a little bit of a controversial take, but the Chase Bliss Tonal Recall Red Knob mod is a delay pedal that I have paid entirely too much money for, but absolutely love. There's a lot of stuff on it that I don't need. Like there's some modulation effects on there that I don't really like using. I'm a real straightforward delay user at the end of the day, but
naturally,
warmth.
this was the right choice.
Yeah, well, leave it to me to pick the most complicated delay pedal to be the simplest solution. But it's the warmth, because they're using Bucket Brigade device chips in there.
Old
the
school.
warmth that you get there with an analog delay is just something that you can't.
Mm-hmm.
I just love it. I don't like the price, but I'm not mad at Chase Bliss for setting the price or having the. I'm not mad at them at all. I love what they're doing over there. Let's see. The next one up is the Shift Line Astronaut version 2. You'll notice very quickly I'm a delay and reverb guy.
Got it.
At the end of the day. Real simple. I get my tone from my amp. I'll use I've got a 1977 Fender Twin Reverb for my clean channel, basically. But what I do like to have is a solid reverb, a solid delay as the foundation of what I'm using. And the Shiftline Astronaut version 2, I don't like that I don't know how to use it. It's very vague. I haven't really been able to figure out where to use the settings. There's like 12 different settings on it, but I've only really used one. But it's very simple at the end of the day. There's 4 knobs actually, and a switch, and I get to pick whichever one I want. It works out really well, creates the atmosphere that I want. If I had to pick a drive pedal that wasn't my own, which is the rules of this, it would be the Electro Harmonix Metal Muff.
Oh.
I don't care about the top boost at all. I hate the top boost. That is a waste of space. Because I handle all the EQ and stuff isn't done on the pedal. It's done on the actual amp with the way that I do things. But there's just something, I don't know what. I typically don't like Electro Harmonix pedals, not to knock the shark in the ocean here.
Okay.
And not to take away from the legacy, the road that they've paved.
Right.
For folks like me to be able to, have effects pedal companies. But when I was touring, that was my distortion tone, was the Electro Harmonix Metal Muff.
So the Metal Muff, is really the only major difference, that top boost switch?
It's well, I don't know, to be honest with you. They have that top boost switch on it that I never used because I've never got into the whole new metal kind of mid-sweep Dimebag Darrell tone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I really got out of the top boost.
Okay.
So I never clicked it. You'll notice, not to shamelessly plug myself, but you notice that the pedals that we make, they're very simple because I don't like complicated pedals. At the end of the day,
yeah,
I takes 4 delay pedals to be the one delay pedal that I want.
You just pointed out Chase Bliss and the Shiftline Astronaut, which has a rotary switch with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 parameters on it.
He doesn't mean he has to like it.
That's true.
They do the one thing I like really well.
Yeah,
gotcha.
There you go.
And then the next one up is I'll have another delay pedal. It's the TC Electronic Nova delay. A lot of people kind of turn their nose up to that, but that's the only pedal I've ever seen that you could set the delay time to BPM. And that's the way that I use delay. It works really well with that.
Hang on a second. These wild claims of simplicity are immediately capped at the knees because now you've got like an old school super digital 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 knob 2-foot button multi-parameter delay. I'm a simple guy.
I only use the quarter note delay and the BPM setting.
Okay, fair play.
And then I've got a wah.
Right. So what
wah?
Yeah.
Which highly complicated wah pedal are you?
It's not highly complicated. I'm a fan of the Rocktron stuff.
Oh wow.
It's getting a little harder to find. I've been a fan. I don't know why, to be honest with you. There's just something about what they were doing back when I was cutting my teeth as a guitar player that was they kind of hit a few like solid strings with what I was aiming for. But their wahs are I don't want to be fiddling around with a bunch of stuff while I'm playing. I like to focus on playing, which is why I've got all this complicated stuff to do simple things.
Yeah.
But
so I'm assuming you have the Black Cat, which has 3 knobs on it.
No. It's the tri-wah, and it's just set on the classic setting.
Got it. Okay. That's what the judges will accept that.
Yes, we accept that.
Earlier you were talking about a simple delay, and I was lucky enough to get one of these. It is the Sketchy Sounds My bad. I always say that wrong. I'm so sorry, dude, when I say that one. But it's called Old Tapes. And I really love that delay. That's on my board.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, it's simple. It sounds nice. It sounds warm. It has a little bit of character to it, but it totally does a job. And it looks cool.
Yeah.
He's out of Wisconsin.
Yeah. So anyways, if you're like, hey, I want a nice warm sounding delay that just does delay and nothing else, and just a couple of knobs, that's one that I encountered recently. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for your 4 on the floor, man. That was fun.
Thank you.
We never shy away from poking people with sticks. So
Poke away. I love it. It's great.
all right, let's get on to your interview portion of this dinner, and we have the M2, the Bomber. And again, if you want to go check that out, you can go to m2-labs.com. And you can find out all about that. I'm intrigued by the M2 Labs story. Maybe that's a nice place to start.
Yeah, I like that you're intrigued by that. That there's accidentally more cool that was unintentional. All of it. So this isn't this grand plan of like this really awesome marketing ploy. This all just kind of happened.
Uh-huh.
But where's you won't be able to just start from the beginning?
Yeah, that's a very good place to start.
So way back in the day, I was touring, and I felt like I had to grow up, and I went and got a job. And
What were you touring? What was the band's name?
Oh, I don't want to name drop the band. It was a great band. It was a band called Night Lore, and the kind of the outcome of that band is that was where I figured out that business was my kung fu.
Uh-huh.
I guess is the only really way I know how to put this, and then I
was it like a death metal version of Bob Seger songs?
Yes,
Okay.
Michael McDonald actually. It's like screaming "Yamo, be there one more time."
Okay.
But
I love it.
I ended up, working in restaurants for about 5 years. I woke up one day, I hated my life, and I decided to get into technology. And that decision of getting into technology led me into the radio, like the wireless industry. And I was working for a guy and ran into Nick, who is my business partner. This is a little over 10 years ago, I think now. And Nick and I just hit it off. Kind of fast forward to where we are now. Nick and I, about 6 years ago, were talking about starting a pedal company because we would just have sessions to where we were talking about, he's a big Fender, Gibson, Marshall guy. So he's got a lot of like 70s Fender Strats, and he just picked up like a 70s SG Custom, and he's got a lot of like original 70s Marshall amps. And he and I would talk about kind of the state of the industry and what was going on. And I'm a little more in tune with I guess I get to say the kids these days of what's going on. But he and I just decided to start this company. We're very slow. We're very careful, especially him. I'm actually the risky one. But kind of where M2 comes from, M2 Labs.
We're familiar with your pedal board, so you need say nothing else.
So the funny story about kind of like how we ended up here is and how we ended up with the name is the M2 portion of this is that Nick's grandfather was the last person to fly a RAF Avro Lancaster.
Okay.
Back after World War II.
Uh-huh.
And this particular Lancaster had the designation called Mike Squared. So it had M2 on the fuselage.
Yeah.
And he was the last person to fly this particular airplane.
Wow.
And I've got links to the full story. There's like it's a big
on the
deal.
website. It's pretty cool.
But the labs portion of this has been having the last name Labadie leaves a lot of really cool low-hanging fruit of making things sound a lot cooler than they are.
Like
So I was
Labadie.
I was a photographer professionally for a little while, and it was JLab photography, that kind of thing. So it always ends up being something labs. But we actually set out with the Bomber to this is back when Music is Win spent like $6,000 on a Klon Centaur.
Yeah, I remember that.
I called him that same day and was like, there's people spending $6,000 on this pedal for some reason. Like, we need to do something. And we set out with the intention of doing a clone of the Klon Centaur. And as we dug into the circuit, we realized there were a lot of things we didn't like. Believe it or not. And that was weird for me because I've never...
A lot of people struggle with the nuances of that pedal. It's a very much a love-hate pedal, even if you love it.
Yeah, it's like, I hate it because I'm not spending $6,000 on a pedal, but that's just me. Some people do. Some people like to reminisce and like the history of the whole thing. But at the end of it all, we spent about 3 years developing this pedal, which ended up being a platform. And where we're at now is something that started with the intention of being a Klon clone, and it's nothing like it anymore. In the grand scheme of things, like electronically, there aren't many changes, but the changes that we did make, like there's some power filtering we did. We made the bypass like a true bypass. It's like transparent now. There was a buffer on the original one. Just tiny little things about the circuit itself. We changed. I remember the day that I was sitting in his workshop and I played it, like the final version. I played it. And it's like, maybe one day I'll understand what it's like to have a kid. But that's, from what I'm told, that was the closest I've ever gotten to like going, oh, wow.
Yeah.
This is a thing.
Yeah. And you guys made it, which is that's the kid part, really. No,
yeah. So like the design of it, called the Bomber, is all about the Lancaster. We wanted to make our flagship pedal, or not our flagship, our first pedal to the market. I'm told it's very ballsy to bring an overdrive pedal as your first pedal to the market. I didn't even think about that, to be honest with you. And that's Hector, the
I don't think that's. I think that's what a lot of people start. Actually, most people start out with a fuzz, and then they go to an overdrive.
Yeah, fuzz circuit.
Well, aside from the actual Bomber association, it's a great name for this pedal because that's what you think of when you play it. Honestly, I mean, it
appreciate
sounds
that.
huge. It's a really big sounding pedal. And for me, the Bomber comes in is like, I don't know if everybody's had the chance to like listen to, at like an air show or something. It's like all the planes are flying around and you can hear it, but then when the Bombers come up, it just doesn't sound like anything else, and it just this low rumble. You can just imagine, like, what if there were thousands of those up there? What a noise that must have been. And your pedal specifically, I think, caters to those lacking a beefy hiney.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah,
thank you.
Yeah, it's Tony and I were talking about, like, okay, like who is this pedal for? And one could say it's for everybody, but specifically, it feels like it's for a little bit more specific audience, or at least it might work better with a specific audience. So, would you kind of talk about where you see this being played, and then Tony and I will jump in and kind of talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. And to be frank with you, I'm. You'll see this a lot on who I'm interacting with as far as artists go.
Yeah.
As far as who I'm endorsing, people that are making videos of it. I'm trying to get representation across genres within this. And one of the biggest things, to be honest with you, that I wanted to kind of prove with this pedal was that it could air quote gent.
Right.
I had no clue if it could or not. And it didn't matter if I did or not, because I recognized from like the very first day of us doing this that it doesn't matter what I think anymore at all. Nothing matters. What matters is what everybody else thinks. And that's why like genuine responses to this are what I'm after. If it sucks, it sucks. Please tell me. If you love it, that's even better. Please tell me. And the cool part was I sent this to a buddy of mine named Dylan. He's the guy that made that kind of genty video on behalf of a band called Silver Cord. He proved off of a story I told him that you could gent with this pedal. You can use this as a second gain stage because he doesn't use pedals. He uses a quad cortex. He's a strictly like touring musician. It's all MIDI controlled, like nothing. He doesn't want anything except to play guitar, and I understand that. And where I found the idea of using this,
sorry, what?
yeah. But where
I'm kidding.
Where I saw this was I went to see Ginger play in Atlanta for my birthday, and I got VIP tickets because like there were only 12 of them, and I had a prototype pedal. And I brought my pedal to the meet and greet and gave it to Roman and Ginger, the guitar player, but he was using a Boss Blues driver as a second gain stage in front of his quad cortex. And that immediately started, like, gears started turning. So that's all Dylan did. You'll notice with Hector represents what a recording engineer would be, as well as like he plays in a pop punk band. The guys in Lorraine, Justin and Eric, they were my white whale, to be honest with you. Post rock is a genre that is very near and dear to my heart. I can't, you called out there was a guy talking about, I think it was the Moon Guitars guy on the last episode.
Yeah.
He was talking about the Keeley rotary pedal.
Right.
And there was a genre, it was like, I can't remember what he said. He's like, I don't normally play this kind of music, but he was talking about how he loved that pedal. Post rock is something that those guys use pedals. Like they've taken what Edge did and does with his insane, I've got too much money kind of effects loop and created this thing where it's like every pedal is a tool.
Right.
And these guys love the Bomber and they're using it. And really I don't know. I'm kind of in this weird spot where you wish you could market to like the metal guys or the I have to market to everybody because it works everywhere.
It's weird because the aesthetic of this makes it feel, and Tony, I want to hear your opinion on this too. Sure. When I first saw this and I pulled it out and said, okay, and a lot of times I try to guess, like, this is going to sound like X, right? Not X the band. I just mean, like, fill in the blank. And to me, because of the Bomber and because it was silver and gold, I thought that this was going to be like the super blues machine, like a big tweed and a Strat, right? That's what I thought was like, this is made for that person.
Mm-hmm.
Then I played it and I was like, oh, okay. First impression, wrong. And the way that I started to think about it at that point was like, okay, wait, well, maybe I'm not wrong. Maybe this is for those who are playing that kind of music, but need more beef.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, then it was like, okay, well, am I still right in assuming this? So it was weird. I was like, okay, I got to shake what my presumptions were.
No preconceptions.
Right.
So in my case, and I am a fan of overdrive pedals more so than distortion pedals or fuzz pedals.
Yeah.
To me, they just take your amp and your rig to a level that just sound has just add some grit. And depending on where you put the controls on this pedal, greatly varies the overall, the sound that you get out of it. In my case, I found that it worked best with a clean amp and single coil pickups, because I tried this through my Vox, and I also tried it through a Trainer combo that I have, which has a really good clean channel. I have lately, whenever we get pedals in, that's what I've been testing through, because the Vox just out of the gate colors everything and sounds a certain way. And I found that it got a little too hairy for my taste, or too beefy with the humbucking pickups. But that being said, you just turn the distortion side down a little bit, or turn up the tone control a little bit to get out, filter out some of the low end.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, it seemed to work best in that scenario with single coil pickups and a clean amp.
And I ran it through my Vox AC30 and also my Marshall Origin 50. And I switched it up between, I think I started off where I'm usually most comfortable, which is humbuckers. And then I said, let me try this with P90s. And I was like, oh, this thing loves P90s.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it woke up big time. And I lost some of that sort of extra thick stuff that I was kind of having a little bit of a hard time shaking, especially on the Vox. But when I went to the P90 and I started playing around a little bit more with how much gain I was sending in the Marshall, I felt it actually did better playing with a little bit more existing gain than I would normally put on it. So it meant that I was able to use this without having to try to find the gain within it. And I think that was a unique aspect of that I hadn't done on the Vox, because like you, I was like, I'm going to try to put this straight through and see what it can do. So in one instance, you were referencing the Blues Driver before, and personally, I don't like the Blues Driver straight as a pedal. But I like using it just like the Tony Baloney drive that we just put out, in the Sparkle drive and that kind of thing, and even the Blues Driver. I like a Blues Driver before another pedal
to goose it a little bit.
Yeah, and to me, this one has enough goose, basically, to just bump the amp.
Mm-hmm.
So when I used a little bit more gain than I thought that I might want to, that's when I was like, whoa, this thing just like started blooming.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question?
Did we do it right, Jonathan?
Yeah. No. See, that's the thing with this is this is one of my favorite things in the entire world to do these days, is hear how people are using this.
Yeah.
Because I'm not to beat a dead horse with this, but I could get on like CNN right now or any major news outlet and talk about this pedal and talk to so many people, and nobody's going to care what I think, because I'm I'm involved with the company. So hearing what you guys think and kind of piecing these clues together with what I think, it's nice, because it's very easy to get caught in an echo chamber in these situations, to where you're stuck in this world that you think this is the best sound, this is what I'm going to do, and you get really rigid and really kind of stuck in your ways. And I've always tried to be fluid when it comes to these kinds of things, because the stance we've taken on the market is very controversial, apparently. And with that, we need to be dynamic. And I love hearing how you guys used it, because so far I've not heard, and this is just my perspective, I've not heard a single instance so far where it can't be used.
Right.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
like the combination of where you guys are coming from and everybody, like the artists I'm working with and the friends that I've got giving me feedback on everything. I love this. This is why I'm in this, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Like you say you're cut from the 80s when it comes to your music taste. My stepmom taught me how to read guitar tablature, and she was an 80s metal chick.
Yeah.
So like the Scorpions and like Zakk Wylde and Lee Jackson and all those, like Lee Jackson is somebody I idolize.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. But I think the only question I have is, did you notice that you can turn the distortion all the way down and crank the volume all the way up and you break up like a tube amp?
I ran it pretty much with the distortion fairly low. I don't know that I turned it completely off, but I could see where that would happen, because that would essentially give you, I could see. I mean, it was kind of, to me, amp-like, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
And I felt that, the dynamics of it were in that realm of amplitude.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I'm gonna have to try that and turn that all the way down and taking the level all the way up.
I have a weird offset parts caster that Tony helped me put together, and in that I've got they're not they're not quarter pounders. It's not a quarter pounder pickup, because it's got like tele electronics in it, essentially, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's I'm trying to remember. It was one of Brandon Wound's pickups. Anyways, it's a little bit. It's not quite quarter pounders, because those to me I don't. It's too.
Oh, they're like
thick.
his blues specials.
Yeah. Anyways, but it's got more. It just has more body and a little bit more, a little bit hotter.
That'd be like Fender Tex-Mex.
Yeah. Okay. So I had those in there, and I played that through the Marshall as well, and that's when I started to slow down. I started to just kind of like, almost like getting into like desert rock kind of like slowish stuff. And that was cool, because the bottom end was just carrying it.
Yeah.
And then like a big giant power chord, it just sat there, and I was like, this is cool. Just sit back and let that do the work. So that was an interesting thing. And I don't normally play that kind of stuff, but that was kind of making me do that a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, the bottom end on this is, I think, what is probably the most impressive feature.
Yes.
Which is probably why I liked it better with single coil pickups.
Not unlike yourself, Tony.
Did I mention you're such a delight, Todd?
Yes, indeed. So, okay, now you have success with this pedal. You've got a whole nother run of these. What are you doing moving forward here?
So we're not going anywhere. Nick and I had we're fully committed to M2 being we're aiming for M2 to be a staple in this environment, and we're not just to kind of give you a little bit of perspective into like the big picture. We're not just pedals in the big picture. Think like outboard effects, cables, and I'm not talking like stuff that we farm out the manufacturing to. It's everything that I have a problem with when it comes to being a guitar player and the products that are available to me, I want to address. And Nick's cut from the same cloth here, but more kind of like immediate, we are releasing another pedal. Hopefully, and I say hopefully because anybody that knows about releasing a pedal or a new product in general understands the issues here. Hopefully the end of March. And
wow,
it's funny
that's real soon.
we've done a lot of the legwork already. Typically, I'm going to hate myself one day for this very soon, but every pedal here, the shtick here is every pedal is going to have its own theme.
Mm-hmm.
So the bomber is the bomber and forever will be the bomber. And there might be variations of it or updates or something, and we might play off of that somehow. We haven't really thought that far ahead. But the next pedal, it's funny you said a lot of people start with a fuzz pedal and then go to an overdrive pedal, but our next pedal is a fuzz pedal.
There you go.
And to give you a little bit of a sneak peek of what the theme is going to be, the name of that pedal is Fuzzocalypse.
Got it.
So I'm real excited about this one. We're not like, curing cancer with the fuzz pedal, so to speak. But I think what we're doing with it's going to be really cool. A big thing I'm aiming to do is, like, every time you look down at your pedal board and you've got one of our pedals there, I want you to go, man, that's such a nice pedal, from like the sound and the aesthetic of it, basically.
That's a great bar to have set for yourself. And this is a beautiful pedal. I mean, there's no doubt about that. When you take it out of the box, you're like, oh, wow, this is really nicely done. In fact, I think that's exactly what I did when I did the unboxing. And you're using some little interesting bits of kit here, as they say. It's gold, but it almost more looks like brass. It
is brass.
It is, yeah, okay. So by gold, I think we just mean goldish in color. But yeah, These are solid brass knobs and brass fittings, and you've got brass jack cuffs on it and everything. It's classy touch, man.
Nick made all of those by hand.
You're kidding.
On a lathe.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Nick is the Doc Brown to my Marty Friedman. Or not Marty Friedman, Marty. Yeah.
I'd like to see that movie.
Yeah. Nick is the he's
Marty,
very much
why are you
teaching me-
picking upside down all the time? What is this?
Marty, we got to go back to the future.
Hold the pick a different way.
Nick is he's teaching me the electrical engineering side of this stuff as we go. I'm more of the marketing, business development kind of thing. That's where I cut my teeth in the RF world. Is kind of, I'm one of those insane people that liked being a part of a startup and questioned why every time I got to the end of it.
Right.
But Nick is teaching me the ins and outs of the electrical engineering side of this stuff and kind of why. And
that's great. It's great education, man.
But at the same time, it's like I come up with these crazy ideas, and I can hear in Nick's voice sometimes that he really hates me.
Yeah,
that's just who I am. I like breaking rules.
I gotcha. Well, man, it's been great finding out about your brand and getting to know you a little bit better, and more importantly, letting our audience get to know you better, because we firmly believe that if you are able to have some kind of like connection personally to something, you're not only more apt to get it, but you're more apt to really enjoy it.
I agree. Yeah.
So we're going to check in with our pal Tanya to find out if we've got a Would You Rather in store.
Well, of course we do, Todd.
Excellent.
Todd, at this point of the show is a little game we like to play called Would You Rather?
Oh, boy. That was like walking around and then you step in a puddle from the bathroom or something, and you're stuck with wet socks.
Oh, I like wet socks.
All right, I'm judging you.
Would you like another version?
No, that's okay.
No, are you sure? I mean, positive. I could do it. I've got another one in me.
I have a plan.
You have a plan?
I do. Go ahead.
Oh, what's your plan?
Just go. That's the plan.
Will you stop yelling at me?
I will.
Thank you. This week's Would You Rather is loosely based on something we discussed a little bit earlier. Jeff Beck. Now, in addition to being a great guitar player and collector and all that stuff, he was also an automotive enthusiast.
Did they sell off his collection of chokers, by the way?
Chokers?
Yeah, little neck chokers. No.
No.
Okay.
They did not. Oh, Lordy. He's going to come back and get you. So at one point in time, Jeff had 14 hot rods and 3 Corvettes.
Okay.
So he was and he loved to get his hands dirty, building the hot rods especially.
Got it.
And so this week's Would You Rather is if you had the opportunity, let's say the ghost of Frank Zappa comes down and grants you some wishes. Would you rather have the 1954 Oxblood Les Paul that recently sold for $1.3 million or Jeff's automotive collection? Which includes
The whole collection?
Why not? We'll do the Corvettes. The 3 Corvettes. He's had a 63 split window. I think he had a 85 C4.
Oh.
And then and he also had a 2007 Corvette that he said was the fastest car he'd ever driven.
Okay.
So you can have the Oxblood,
Got it.
or you can have the 3 Vets.
Okay. Go ahead.
Well, Todd,
Yes.
I love guitar.
Now, and this is not a matter, like, oh, I'll take that and then I'll sell it.
No, you can't sell them.
There's no resale happening here.
You have to have a garage to keep them in too.
Yes.
So if you take the cars, which I will in my case,
Okay.
I'm going with the cars.
Okay.
I mean, as cool as it would be to have the guitar, and that's one of his famous things. God, I would love a 63 split window. Oh man,
You're insane. Okay, let's see. Jonathan, what are you gonna do?
I'm gonna pick the cars too. I'm a car enthusiast, and there is just something about the way an engine sounds, especially one of those cars,
oh yeah.
that you cannot replicate
Nope.
out of a $1.4 million guitar.
Nope.
So I'm gonna go with the cars.
Well, growing up in California,
Yes.
I mean, I saw it, and especially in our era, it's like we saw all the different. They were all out there, and when we saw those things change. But I remember very early on being absolutely captivated, and I did all kinds of drawings of them and everything. I still have them, and I would put slogans on them. I was doomed to be like in a marketing. It says one of them says, "Old Blackie, you can't beat it or race it." And it's got. I honestly, I'll see if I can dig that picture up and show it to you.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, split window,
Yeah.
Stingray. Are
Yeah.
you freaking kidding me? I don't care how many guitars you put in front of me. I'd take that all day long.
Yep.
And I would just leave the other ones in the parking lot. Honestly, I would be so tickled to have that car. Oh my gosh, that's the holy grail of the split window Stingray.
Yeah.
That's it. It doesn't.
It doesn't get much better than
really
that.
doesn't. A Jag XJE like X type, like you know what I'm saying.
Ooh. Oh man, that
But
would be a tough
there's
call.
There's not too many others that can really do that. Anyways,
Yes.
Okay, well, there you have it, everybody.
There you have it. This is what you get.
We love guitars.
We love guitars and we love cars.
Yes.
We love cars more.
Yes.
So-
Anyways, that was a good one.
Yeah,
That
it was
a good
just
one.
kinda-
I'm just enjoying looking at this car.
Oh,
my
that's a
God.
beauty, yeah.
It's absolutely stunning.
Get to the split window.
I know that was like the first one, second picture. Oh,
There it is.
oh my gosh.
You guys know how that even the story behind how that's tied to NASA?
The split window?
Yeah.
No.
There's a whole thing about how Chevy marketed those things to astronauts.
Oh, that's right.
Well,
I don't
tell us
know
more,
enough
Tony.
about it to like give you the full lore introduction, but you should definitely dig into that. It's really interesting.
Well, I think if I remember right, didn't the original Mercury astronauts all get one from Chevy?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then and actually the split window Stingray actually looks like there was a Mercury, then it went to the Gemini, which had 2 crew members, and that split window actually kind of looks like the Gemini spacecraft.
Yeah.
So maybe that's kind of the inspiration. Oh, that silver one.
God, I mean, it's just stunning to look at. It's like, ladies and gentlemen, if you're like, why are they talking about a Vet? Okay, look, we know like the Vet has a lot of colored opinions around that, right? Unless it happens to be the split window Stingray, which is arguably one of the most beautiful cars ever made. Period.
No, there's no argument.
I mean, it's just we're like blah, 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 looking at the images, and so you're looking at about $100,000 for one of these, by the way.
Maybe a little bit more than that.
I just said around $100,000.
Well, there was one that actually a fully restored, low miles, I think went for close to $1 million recently.
Oh, I'm sure, but in good condition.
Yeah,
about $100,000.
everyday driver. Yeah, about $100,000.
Yeah.
Everyday driver. That's funny.
Oh golly.
All right.
Well, heart a beating.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go.
Good one, Tony. We need to thank a few people.
That's right, Todd, because right now there's a special group of people we love to thank. These are our executive producer. Now, an executive producer helps make this show possible. How do you become one? Easy as pie. Go over to patreon.com/guitarknobs. Check out a couple different levels in which you can participate, become a friend, a hero, a sponsor of the podcast. Each level comes with some very nice thank you gifts and opportunities to win stuff. Oh, heck yeah, you can win stuff. But I'm told there's one thing more. What would that be? Does that mean you get to have your name read on the thing?
That's exactly what that means.
Okay, I'm getting good at this Wookiee translation of yours. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So special thanks to these executive producers: Anthony Lathrop, Brett Hogarth, Cameron Pampas, Darren Gregory, Don Kloss, Elad Mizrahi, James Bell, James White, John Esterly from Where Buzzer Effects, John Sebastian, John Halverson, Justin Jones, Ken Sayers, Michael Senchuk, Mike Davenport, Owen Eads, Plutone, Ralph Gottschalk from Wonderful Audio Technology. What? Richard Kendall, Rick Calhoun, Rusty Sneeden, Stefan Lamb, Tom Barazin, Trevor Ellenberg, Trevor Gunberg, Vader Pedals. Ooh. But what's that, Todd? There's more?
There's more?
There is more, because there's a special group of executive producers. We call them our grand poobahs. These are the creme de la creme, the top of the heap, the A number ones. And they wear a fez on their heads while listening to the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So special thanks to these grand poobahs: Anthony Gemolero, Billy Spitfire Unlimited, Bob Crouch, Brian Robison, Cody Foster, David Kaminga, David Tyndall, Enrico Fernando, Fox Hill Studio, Gregory Randall. Sorry, Gregory. I got tongue-tied on that one. Hex Matos, John Williams, Martin Cliff, Matt Hart, Michael Van Zant, Michio Murakishi, Mike Nazionale. Did I do that right?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Moon Guitars, Pedro Vasquez, Sam Jett, Steve Keys, James Pennington, and Zach Oswald from Brandon Wound Pickups.
Indeed. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, I was just double checking on something with Tony behind the scenes. We need to say a colossal thank you to our friend Jonathon Labadie of M2 Labs for joining us on the show. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We have to say it.
We have to. Yes, it's got to be said. Yeah, man. Thanks so much for doing this with us. We had a great time getting to know you.
I appreciate it. It was really great to meet with you guys, and I appreciate you reaching out and taking the time to talk to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and let us know when that other pedal's coming out.
Oh, I will. Don't you worry. I will.
Excellent. And where can people find you and the things that you do?
So the first best resource is the Instagram. That is M2 Labs Official. Is the Instagram.com/M2 Labs Official. The other next best thing is M2-Labs.com. I will forewarn you, I have taken a stance on this pedal and where we stand on it based on some reactions I've gotten from the internet, and I'm doing something very controversial on my website. I have dubbed the Bomber Overdrive the Anti-Clon.
Okay.
And am running a Anti-Clon kind of limited edition shirt pre-sale thing to where you get $60 off a Bomber if you pre-order it and buy a shirt.
That's a great
Nice.
deal, man.
So
Good,
hopefully
good.
that picks up. I'm hoping to hear from all the people that upsets. So
Yes.
you can reach me directly on the website.
Will do. All right, Tony.
Head over to pickguardian.com. Check out the stuff that I do. What do? I make custom pick guards for guitars. How do you get one? Shoot me an email. Let me know what you're trying to do, what kind of guitar you got, what pickups, what materials. I probably have some good advice, if you're not 100% sure. But if you're 100% sure, just let me know what you need. I'll take very good care of you. It's your opportunity to make your guitar even more yours.
Perfect. Well done, Tony. All right, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram at Guitar Knobs. We'd love to hear from you. Just tell us what's up. Share a little something about yourself. We share plenty about ourselves, and we'd love to reciprocate. You can also shoot me an email, Todd at theguitarknobs.com. And either one of those are acceptable ways to tell us if you would like one of our hoodies. And I did try to make sure we got, good ones.
Yeah, these are nice hoodies.
They're not the $400 hoodies that like all these crazy kids from New York are walking around in for whatever reason. But these ones, I'm pretty picky about this. I try to be, and I think this is a really nice one.
Yes.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have enjoyed the show. Want to say have a fantastic guitar week. And subscribe!
Yeah.
And others. Anyways.
That lady has an eye patch.
Yes, she does. Wait.
Come on.
Oh, you're having technical issues, Tony?
Good. Keep talking.
Well, congratulations on your soon-to-be wedding, I guess, there.
We're this will be go number 2 for me. So
With the same
I'm
one?
not. No. No.
My mother.
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 May I go to the bathroom? Thank you. What does she do?
She is a liver transplant nurse.
I feel like it would be fun to watch Face Off with her.
With Sally, my fiance?
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, that would if you're going to watch a movie with somebody, and the movie is Face Off, you'd want to watch it with a transplant doctor person, right?
So seeing her reaction to just how cheesy that entire movie is would be more entertaining than the movie. She's an hour and 30 minutes away from me.
Who is?
Your mom.
Oh, well, my mom's a she, but that's anyways.
Did I say he? No.
That's okay. You sound like a kind of a big guy. Am I right?
When you say big, what do you mean?
Like probably more like a tree than a large barrel.
I'm a little mix between both. I typically wear 2X and everything.
Okay.
Yes. Welcome to the club.
Yes. Tony eats X's for breakfast.
There you
Tough
go.
skins.
Who made Tough Skins?
Sears.
No.
Sears made Tough Skins too.
Did they?
Yes, for the little kids.
Oh, maybe.
Huskies were for the bigger, older kids like yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. Tough Skins were the little kid one. Yeah. I am an XL. I'm right behind you guys. My shoulder, I got wide shoulders. So
Okay, the wide shoulders. Yeah. I've got wide shoulders too.
I have elongated clavicles. Okay.
This is starting to sound like big boned to me.
Yeah.
Or husky.
Husky. Oh my God.
We will manage. Tony's not afraid of anything like that.
Nah.
Despite his looks, Tony is actually relatively fearless.
Yeah.
It's just gravity that is the.
I'm afraid of falling too, Tony. Don't worry.
Yeah. You can get seriously killed falling.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. You've been really thorough. You've been really clear, and I appreciate that.
Uh-huh.
I've been in interview situations when I was in a band that were the exact opposite of this. So greatly appreciate the system you guys have in place. It was really awesome.
Oh.
And it is really awesome. So
Super duper. Well, we'll see if that checks out at the end of the show.
no pressure.
Right. And away we go.
Well, that's it for these knobs. Please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/theguitarknobs. Visit our website at theguitarknobs.com for all of our past episodes, 4 on the Floor blog, and other good stuff. You can connect with us on social too at our Facebook page and share your gear and stories on our Facebook group. Also, be sure to check out our Instagram at Guitar Knobs. Catch you next time.